Silver is fantastic, isn't it? You should never sell it, should you? Well, that's not what I'm experiencing right now. There are so many people looking to sell their silver through our Backyard Bullion Buyers Club. It's quite overwhelming. But I also think it makes for really interesting thinking about the reasons why lots of people are looking to exit silver. And I'll tell you exactly for why, because they want to put their money into gold. Everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and a very warm welcome to you all joining me for another precious metal ramble. No, your eyes do not deceive you. There are a lot of silver bars and two big coins out here on the table. 10.5 kilos to be precise. I wish all of this was mine, but unfortunately it's not. I am selling these on behalf of a third party, and selling is what I want to talk about here today because there are some really interesting things going on from my perspective in terms of buying and selling. And the selling side of things is, I think, taking me a little bit by surprise as to how many people are actually looking perhaps to sell some of their silver right now. There are a lot of buyers too, but there are also a lot of people who are quite happy to exit silver. And that can somewhat be contrary to the large number of people out there that share a lot of videos and a lot of content online that they will never sell. They will stack and stack and stack until they can stack no more and it's somebody else's problem in a future generation. And I do think that that's somewhat naive. The whole point of silver and gold is, of course, to hold something that's real over time, but we all use fiat currency. We all buy stuff with that money that people call is fake. And you do need that cash to go and buy stuff at the shops, pay your rent, pay your mortgage, put fuel in your car, etc. So I do think that's interesting. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of my experiences of the amount of people selling and the reasons why perhaps some people are selling. I'd love to know what your thoughts are down in the comment section, whether you are buying or selling right now. I am really not too bothered. And you know, of course, there are going to be some relative generalizations from US versus UK. There are a lot of UK-centered sellers that I'm going to be sort of focusing a little bit on here today. But it'd be great to hear your thoughts and opinions down in that comment section. So please do feel free to comment. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you're enjoying our video. And of course, these beautiful, beautiful shiny bits of silver are sparkling away in the sunlight. Goodness me, it's so pretty. So, yeah, sellers, lots of sellers out there. Now, for those who are perhaps watching this as one of the first videos on my channel in the new year, in fact, on the 1st of January, I put out a video going, I can sell your silver. I can actually get good prices for it compared with going to a dealer. And it's worked stupidly well. Like, I've done a few videos updating you all. I'm not going to bore you all again with the facts of that if you've watched those. But short story, it's been exceptionally successful and overwhelmingly successful, quite frankly. I've had to scale it back a little bit from my own perspective. I honestly didn't think, and this was maybe my misjudgment and my underestimation of the market, but I genuinely didn't think that there'd be a great deal of sellers looking to get out of the market. Now, Mrs. Backyard Bullion, the ever clever, the ever shrewd and observant Mrs. Backyard Bullion has said one of two things might be happening here. First, there might just be a lot of people wanting to exit silver at the moment, and I do think that that's a certain element of it from a UK perspective. Silver is at a premium, you buy it at a premium, and perhaps I do feel like a lot of people in the UK, when they buy their silver from a dealer, they get a little bit of buyer's remorse because they then suddenly find out, oh, hang on, I've paid quite a lot of money for this silver and it's quite a liability. So then Mrs. Backyard Bullion suggested, well, maybe it's because the service that you're offering is too good and too cheap, and there are a lot of people who are now wanting to take advantage of that. And yeah, that might be somewhat the case. There might very well be this plethora of people appearing out the woodwork because the service that I offered was a good one and it was at a good price. That's something to consider for the future for my own sanity and well-being in terms of how much work I want to take on or could take on. But for now, I think that's a really shrewd observation from Mrs. Backyard Bullion, that there are a lot of people out there who I do think buy and then somewhat have regrets of their silver. Perhaps they've watched too many of our US brethren over on the other side of the pond. And I don't want to disparage all US stackers, but it is a very different market from UK to US silver stacking. And the amount of premiums that we spend here in the UK, just, you know, you think you've got it bad in the US, you try buying new from a dealer with the premiums that we've got. From dealers, literally, right now, this week, you can buy a US Eagle brand new for like £45, £49 on some places, which in dollar terms is close to 60. It's absolutely staggering. So, you're talking massive premiums, massive taxes, and I do think that there are a lot of people in the UK who might buy some of their silver and then suddenly go, yeah, that is actually quite a lot of money I've just spent. Perhaps they see certain videos, think it's a great idea, jump in, 2 feet first, and then realise that it's not quite what they expected. Perhaps they come across a certain YouTube channel that starts to tell a little bit more about how it is rather than what it might be. I wonder what kind of channel might do that. Backyard Bullion. But anyway, there are a lot of reasons why people might want to sell, and it is very, very evident here that there are a lot of sellers that could come out the woodwork. I mean, I've had to turn people away right now because I am just one single guy. I am working out the kitchen. This is the kitchen table. I am not set up to deal with the volumes that some people are talking about. I've had a few people get in touch saying that they've got upwards of 1,000 ounces worth of silver that they want to sell, and more. Even I was one chap with 1,600 ounces. There's been another chap with 313 half gold sovereigns, which at spot value alone is £50,000. You can certainly see suddenly that there's this appetite, granted that the half sovereigns are a gold sale rather than a silver sale, but you get my point. There is this appetite still right now for people to look to sell. And maybe that's because times are a little bit hard. Maybe there are people out there who've got, bills to pay, mortgages that have gone up in price, and of course, interest rates going up, inflation, cost of living, everything is costing more. Perhaps these people are looking now to get out of that riskier liability asset that sits there and does nothing. That could certainly be the case. However, even though there are a lot of sellers, there are a lot more buyers, and that's, I think, really staggering. Now, I knew that I'd get a lot of people that sign up to my service when I promoted it on the 1st of January. I quite frankly wasn't expecting the number that I did. I mean, maybe that is again a misunderestimation from the powers of social media, but we've had over 500 people sign up in 17 days, and the buyers keep coming. When we put things up for sale, they keep coming, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. Of course, it puts the pressure on me as the seller, because there are a lot of people who are looking to buy smaller amounts, and so I've had a lot of people who get in touch and say this is their first time buying, their first time putting any money into silver. And so for some reason, they think now is the time, and yeah, that's absolutely fine. It's funny, isn't it? Because you look at, if you're a seasoned stacker and you look at when you've had your times to buy in the past, and you think, yeah, well, that was me. So back in 2016, 15 and 16, I bought my bits of silver and I was paying £12 an ounce for them, delivered. And then you look at some of the purchases now and people buying from a dealer for 33, 34, 35 pounds an ounce, or perhaps you're buying on our service for 26, 27 pounds an ounce. I think that's an acceptable price point, and it's what I think is most interesting. And you'll have to excuse, for those who watch my channel for a long time, I go off on these tangents and these rambles. I unscript everything. There you go. It's just me talking at the camera. Now, what I think is really interesting is that I think have found a really good medium point for market value. So at the moment we are selling silver at the 26, 27 pounds an ounce mark, 25, 24 if it's sort of older, milkier, or not really very popular governmental bullion like Philharmonics and things like that, and it sells within minutes, within hours. If you've got 200 Britannias, which we should have by the end of the week, they'll be gone within the day. 100% they'll be gone within the day. Slightly more premium stuff like these Geiger bars, it is a bit slower. They are up for sale on our website right now. I think we had 8. We've got 3 sold, so there's 5 left. These PAMP 500s, they are, of course, really high premiums, and these, stupidly high premiums. And I've been completely honest with the seller. We'll try and get market rate for them, but ultimately, these are not necessarily about getting the cheapest price for the buyers. It's about a medium point in finding, and at $8.50 for these Geigers, I think that is a good price point. But what I'm getting at here is that we found a good medium, and from a buyer's perspective, if you buy your silver at sort of the 26, 27 pound an ounce mark, I feel like the liability is significantly less. If you buy it at 35, 36 pounds an ounce mark from a dealer brand new, with the VAT, with the tax added, then you are, I think, setting yourself up for a bit of a shock when you do look to sell them. You'd have to either take a long time to sell properly through your own steam, or you'd end up having to actually put something through a dealer and really getting stung for it. So I do think that we've hit this really good medium of finding that price point of the true market value of silver. The price that people are willing to pay for in bulk for their silver right now seems to be anywhere between 25 and 28 pounds an ounce, which is really, really good. And I do think that, you know, for example, if somebody bought 100 ounces of silver through us at the £26 an ounce mark for Britannia's, or £27 an ounce mark for Britannia's, they could turn around to me tomorrow, send them back to me and sell them. I mean, I'm not going to complain because I earn £1 an ounce for selling it the first time, and then they turn around and sell it for £1 an ounce to me the second time. I do feel that that's a really low swing compared with dealers. So there's, I think, a lot of evidence to say that we're doing a really interesting sort of thought experiment that's turned into a real experiment, and there's a lot of really good things coming out from this Backyard Bullion Buyers Club, that we have got the sellers, we've got the buyers, and I do think that the future is interesting for silver. Now, how we can extrapolate this out to the rest of the market, the rest of the whole world market, is difficult because we're such a small sort of sample of stackers, and of course the difference between the UK and the US is, you know, very, very different when it comes to stacking. But I do think that there is right now an appetite for a lot of people to exit silver, and a lot of people, when I get emails for inquiry, say, you know, they want to put it in gold, and gold is the way forward. And I've certainly seen a lot less gold put up for sale than silver. Now, gold is at this really interesting point, and that surprises me because it's at a high price right now, one of the highest it's been in the UK for a very long time, and there aren't very many people wanting to exit gold. And I think that speaks even more than the fact that we've got a lot of people selling silver. No one wants to sell their gold right now. Well, very few people do. There are some still, but it is definitely interesting. So there we have my thoughts on the selling of silver right now. I think it's an interesting time to be a silver stacker, to be a silver YouTuber and social media influencer. I really do hate that phrase, but yeah, if you're watching to this point in the video, thank you. You're my Backyard Bullion Ramblers, and I really do appreciate all of you for doing that. You're cool. Hit the thumbs up button. Otherwise, that's it from me. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. We'll see you on the next video, where we're going to actually take a proper close look at these Geigers and these Pamps and one of these Mexican Libertads in Focus Friday. A triple whammy of a video, because you don't see these very often, and I think we need to do them some justice by really having a close look at them. So there we go. That's on Friday. We'll see you then. Thank you very much all for watching. Have a great week ahead. And as always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.